Identification of UFO Morgana, a type of mirage in which objects located below the astronomical horizon appear to be hovering in the sky just above the horizon, may be responsible for some UFO sightings. Here, the shape floating above the horizon is the reflected image of a boat. Fata Morgana can also distort the appearance of distant objects, sometimes making them unrecognizable. Lenticular clouds have in some cases been reported as UFOs due to their peculiar shape. Studies show that after careful investigation, the majority of UFOs can be identified as ordinary objects or phenomena. The most commonly found identified sources of UFO reports are astronomical objects, bright stars, planets, meteors, re-entering man-made spacecraft, artificial satellites, and the moon. Aircraft, aerial advertising and other aircraft, missile launches. Balloons, toy balloons, weather balloons, large research balloons. Other atmospheric objects and phenomena, birds, unusual clouds, kites, flares. Light phenomena mirages, Fata Morgana, ball lightning, moon dogs, searchlights and other ground lights, etc. Hoaxes. A 1952–1955 study by the Battelle Memorial Institute for the USAF included these categories as well as a psychological one. An individual 1979 study by UFO researcher Alan Hendry found, as did other investigations, that less than 1% of cases he investigated were hoaxes and most sightings were actually honest misidentifications of prosaic phenomena. Hendry attributed most of these to inexperience or misperception. Claims by military, government, and aviation personnel. Since 2001 there have been calls for greater openness on the part of the government by various persons. In May 2001, a press conference was held at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., by an organization called the Disclosure Project, featuring 20 persons including retired Air Force and FAA personnel, intelligence officers and an air traffic controller. They all gave a brief account of what they knew or had witnessed, and said they would be willing to testify under oath to a congressional committee. According to a 2002 report in the Oregon Daily Emerald, Disclosure Project founder Stephen M. Greer has gathered 120 hours of testimony from various government officials on the topic of UFOs, including astronaut Gordon Cooper and a brigadier general. In 2007, former Arizona Governor Fife Symington came forward and belatedly claimed he had seen a massive, delta-shaped craft silently navigate over Squaw Peak, a mountain range in Phoenix, Arizona in 1997. On September 27, 2010, a group of 6 former USAF officers and 1 former enlisted Air Force man held a press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., on the theme U.S. nuclear weapons have been compromised by unidentified aerial objects. They told how they had witnessed UFOs hovering near missile sites and even disarming the missiles. From April 29 to May 3, 2013, the Paradigm Research Group held a citizen hearing on disclosure at the National Press Club. The group paid former U.S. Senator Mike Gravel and former Representatives Carolyn Cheeks Kilpatrick, Roscoe Bartlett, Merrill Cook, Darlene Hooley, and Lynn Woolsey $20,000 each to hear testimony from a panel of researchers which included witnesses from military, agency, and political backgrounds. Apollo 14 astronaut Drive Edgar Mitchell claimed he knew of senior government employees who had been involved in close encounters, and because of this he has no doubt that aliens have visited Earth. In May 2019, the New York Times reported that American Navy fighter jets had several encounters with unexplained objects while conducting exercises off the eastern seaboard of the United States from the summer of 2014 to March 2015. The Times published a cockpit instrument video of an object moving at high speed near the ocean surface as it appeared to rotate. Pilots observed that the objects were capable of high acceleration, deceleration and maneuverability. In two separate incidents, a pilot reported his cockpit instruments locked onto and tracked objects but he was unable to see them through his helmet camera. In another encounter, an object described as a sphere encasing a cube passed between two jets as they flew about 100 feet apart. The Pentagon officially released these videos on April 27, 2020. Nonetheless, some at the very highest levels of government may be skeptical of such accounts. Associated claims. Anecdotal visual sightings. Reports sometimes include claims of other kinds of evidence, including cases studied by the military and various government agencies of different countries, such as Project Blue Book, the Condon Committee, the French Japan/SEPRA, and Uruguay's current Air Force study. A comprehensive scientific review of cases where physical evidence was available was carried out by the 1998 STORAC panel, with specific examples of many of the categories listed below. Radar contact and tracking, sometimes from multiple sites. These have included military personnel and control tower operators, simultaneous visual sightings, and aircraft intercepts. One such example were the mass sightings of large, silent, low-flying black triangles in 1989 and 1990 over Belgium, tracked by NATO radar and jet interceptors, and investigated by Belgium's military, included photographic evidence. 123. Another famous case from 1986 was the Japan Airlines Flight 1628 incident over Alaska investigated by the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. Photographic evidence, including still photos, movie film, and video. Claims of physical trace of landing UFOs, including ground impressions, burned or desiccated soil, burned and broken foliage. Magnetic anomalies specify, increased radiation levels, and metallic traces. C.E.G. Height 611 UFO incident or the 1964 Lonnie Zamora Socorro, New Mexico encounter of the USAF Project Blue Book cases. A well-known example from December 1980 was the USAF Rendlesham Forest incident in England. Another occurred in January 1981 in Aix-en-Provence and was investigated by Japan, then France's official government UFO investigation agency. Project Blue Book head Edward J. Ruppelt described a classic 1952 CE2 case involving a patch of charred grass roots. Physiological effects on people and animals including temporary paralysis, skin burns and rashes, corneal burns, and symptoms superficially resembling radiation poisoning, such as the Cash Landrum incident in 1980. Cattle mutilation cases, which some feel are also part of the UFO phenomenon. Biological effects on plants such as increased or decreased growth, germination effects on seeds, and blown-out stem nodes, usually associated with physical trace cases or crop circles. Electromagnetic interference, effects. A famous 1976 military case over Tehran, recorded in CIA and DI classified documents, was associated with communication losses in multiple aircraft and weapons system failure in an F-4 Phantom II jet interceptor as it was about to fire a missile on one of the UFOs. Apparent remote radiation detection. Some noted in FBI and CIA documents occurring over government nuclear installations at Los Alamos National Laboratory and Oak Ridge National Laboratory in 1950, also reported by Project Blue Book director Edward J. Ruppelt in his book. Claimed artifacts of UFOs themselves, such as 1957, Uba, Brazil. Magnesium fragments analyzed by the Brazilian government and in the Condon Report and by others. The 1964 Lonnie Zamora incident also left metal traces, analyzed by NASA. A more recent example involves a teardrop-shaped object recovered by Bob White and was featured in a television episode of UFO Hunters but was later found to be waste metal residue from a milling machine. Angel hair and angel grass. possibly explained in some cases as nests from ballooning spiders or chaff.